The complete works of Swami Vivekananda, The Sages of India, Part 2. This our sages knew and therefore left it open to all Indian people to worship such great personages, such incarnations. Nay, the greatest of these incarnations goes further. Wherever an extraordinary spiritual power is manifested by external man, know that I am there. This is from me that manifestation comes. That leaves the door open for the Hindu to worship the incarnations of all the countries in the world. The Hindu can worship any sage and any saint from any country whatsoever. And as a fact, we know that we go and worship many times in the churches of the Christians and many times in the Mohammedan mosques. And that is good. Why not? Ours, as I have said, is the universal religion. It is inclusive enough, it is broad enough to include all the ideals. All the ideals of religion that are already existing in the world can be immediately included. And we can patiently wait for all the ideals that are to come in future to be taken in the same fashion, embraced in the infinite arms of the religion of the Vedanta. This more or less is our position with regard to the great sages and the incarnations of God. There are also secondary characters. We find the word Rishi again and again mentioned in the Vedas, and it has become a common word at the present time. The Rishi is the great authority. We have to understand that idea. The definition is that the Rishi is the mantra drashta, the seer of thought. What is the proof of religion? This was asked in very ancient times. There is no proof in the senses, was the declaration. From whence words reflect back with thought without reaching the goal. There the eyes cannot reach, neither can the speech nor the mind. That has been the declaration for ages and ages. Nature outside cannot give us any answer as to the existence of the soul, the existence of God, the eternal life, the goal of man and all that. This mind is continually changing, always in a state of flux. It is finite, it is broken into pieces. How can nature tell of the infinite, the unchangeable, the unbroken, the indivisible, the eternal? It never can. And whenever mankind has striven to get an answer from the dull dead matter, history shows us how disastrous the results have been. How come then the knowledge which the Vedas declared? It comes through being a Rishi. This knowledge is not in the senses, but are the senses the be all and the end all of the human being? Who dare say that the senses are the all in all of man? Even in our lives, in the life of every one of us here, there come moments of calmness, perhaps, when we see before us the death of someone we love, but when some shock comes to us, or when extreme blessedness comes to us. Many other occasions there are when the mind, as it were, becomes calm, feels for the moment in its real nature, as a glimpse of the infinite beyond. Where words cannot reach nor the mind can go is revealed to us. This happens in ordinary life, but it has to be heightened, practiced, and perfected. Men found out ages ago that the soul is not bound or limited by the senses. No, not bound or limited by the senses, not even by the consciousness. We only have to understand that this consciousness is the name of one link in the infinite chain. Being is not identical with consciousness, but consciousness is the one part of the being. Beyond consciousness is where the bold search lies. Consciousness is bound by the senses. Beyond that, beyond the senses, men must go in order to arrive at the truths of the spiritual world. And there are even now persons who succeed in going beyond the bounds of the senses. These are called rishis because they come face to face with the spiritual truths.